Joined now by United States Senator Tom Cotton from Arkansas. Good morning, Senator. How are you?
Good morning, Hugh. It's good to be on with you.
I see federal judges in Arkansas are preventing executions of convicted murderers and other heinous crimes. Your reaction has been pretty emphatic
Well,
on Twitter.
yeah, Hugh, to be exact, federal judges in Washington, one in particular, a liberal activist masquerading as a neutral jurist, who received a petition from this white supremacist triple murderer last year and ruled on one claim and was recently reversed by the Supreme Court. And then yesterday, just hours before the execution, on a petition that had been pending for months, ruled on another claim, leaving many other claims, giving her other bites at the apple. The D.C. Circuit did not reverse her immediately as it should have, but fortunately the Supreme Court did overnight. And as of now, the execution of this white supremacist triple murderer is scheduled to go forward later this afternoon. I have no doubt that this liberal judge in Washington, though, will try to stop it once again. She's a little more than a member of the resistance wearing black robes. But the point being is our death penalty jurisprudence is a joke.
Oh, it has been a joke for a long time. I mean, for a very long time.
Fellow citizens sentenced in accordance with the law. They sentenced heinous murderers. This murder happened 24 years ago. These victims have not had justice. The families have not had justice. Our society has not had justice. This nonsense needs to end after the first appeal, after which we should only allow credible claims of actual innocence, which in this case, like almost any other case, no one disputes.
Now, Senator, I want to move to a separate subject, the Workplace Recovery Act by Scott Rasmussen. It's out there. A lot of businesses are being shuttered again by governments. Gavin Newsom did what he thinks he has to do and did it again in California in 30 counties. And across the country, various businesses are still shuttered by order of the government. Phase 4 is coming up. What is your opinion on business interruption assistance for people who have been shuttered? Quarter over quarter, just make the profit.
Yeah. So, Hugh, business interruption insurance is a kind of model that was considered at the last minute of the CARES Act in late March. I think it was too late to put in the legislation at the time. I think it's something that we ought to at least consider, though, as we deliberate on a new piece of legislation later this month. I think we ought to be open-minded about any kind of novel or creative ways to help businesses stay open, to keep their workers employed, and help our economy get back on its feet. Obviously, the virus is highly contagious, very disruptive to business life, very dangerous to certain segments of our population. We ought to be open-minded about every tool or technique or policy that might not be appropriate under ordinary conditions to try to help our society get through this virus.
You see, business interruption insurance, for people who don't know, you just look at what revenue a business has lost, and the insurance company typically steps up and says, okay, you lost that amount of revenue, here's a check. And they reopen when they can, and they repair their damage when they can. But most insurance companies are claiming this is not business interruption as a result of the virus. There are lawsuits. It's going to be a legal battle for years, but these business owners, especially restaurants and gyms and things like that, which are frontline casualties of this, they can't get back. Do you have a workable proposal? Do you think the Rasmussen proposal is workable?
I haven't read Scott's proposal in detail. I've spoken with several business leaders and insurance experts back in March about this idea. It wouldn't be a silver bullet for you. About a third of all businesses don't have business interruption insurance. You're right that there's currently lawsuits going on about whether business interruption insurance in certain cases covers a pandemic as opposed to, say, physical damage. I can't comment on any particular policy, obviously, but the concept would be the same, is that there's some kind of government backstop that supports these policies or policies like them that would provide some lost revenue for businesses that are having to be shut down once again in some places like California by order of state and local governments.
All right, last question. I had on Byron York earlier. We had a disagreement. If Durham doesn't indict anyone, U.S. Attorney Durham, I don't want him to say a thing. The Attorney General can go and testify before your colleagues, but I don't want prosecutors issuing reports. I think that's where Comey went way wrong and where the government, I just want to get your reaction. Prosecutors issuing reports as opposed to indictments scare me, Tom Cotton.
Well, in the general run of things, prosecutors should only issue indictments, and if they don't issue indictments, they shouldn't say anything. However, in this case, you have the Mueller team that spent 2 years going after the president and issued a 400-page report that, in essence, said the president did nothing wrong. There was no collusion with his campaign or his administration with Russia. I think this is a case where what's good for the goose has to be good for the gander. Given the extraordinary circumstances of the Mueller investigation into the president and his campaign and administration, then John Durham needs to issue findings, whether or not he thinks there's a crime that's provable beyond a reasonable doubt.
Well, didn't Mueller make a mistake when he did that, Senator Cotton? Shouldn't he have just closed the book and said, sorry, there aren't any crimes here?
Perhaps, Hugh, but it's water under the bridge. That report out now, I think the American people deserve to know how this hoax of a collusion investigation began.
All right, Senator Cotton, we will continue that conversation down